All right, good morning. Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dowell. I am actually going to speak about in this video right here General Mad Dog Mattis resignation letter. But before I go into all that, I have my right to an opinion just like anybody else does. Now, I'm not privy to all the information that's going on up in Washington. However, I do use a strong spirit of discernment concerning a lot of things that are going on in this world, and especially what I see coming from this administration. And that doesn't mean that I am impugning this administration. That doesn't mean that I'm going to make disparaging comments towards this administration, because the truth is, again, I realize that I don't have all the information. But the one thing I do see is I've never seen this before. And since I have been paying attention to politics, I've never seen this before. I've never seen, or I have never saw so many people who were excited, elated, and ecstatic to be on a president's cabinet, to jump ship, to bail ship. I'm also watching the mental gymnastics of CNN and how they report it. Instead of he resigns, he quits. These play on words, they have a way of swaying the court of public opinion of those who really truly don't spend time trying to get to the bottom line of how deceptive news media practices are and how they report things. Now, if you've been listening to me for any length of time whatsoever at all, I'm literally disgusted with people like Jesse Ventura puts it, Chickenhawks. We seem to have a fetish with spineless, weak-backed presidents in this country right here. People, when they have the opportunity to go and serve, they get 4 and 5 deferments. They jump country and go to Canada. And then they get into the political arena, and then next thing you know, they come back and they act like they're some type of shark. They're very bullish on war. They're very cocky and arrogant, but they show themselves to be cowards when their number was called, when it came time to serve this country. And to me, the service of the country, when you had the opportunity and you kept on dodging and dodging and dodging and dodging and dodging, and I should probably add a few more in there, it reeks of cowardness. That's what it does. Because if you was in the armed services and you was in supply, at least you did serve. You did your capacity. You did your job in order to support those boots that are on the ground. I understand it takes a certain mentality, but I tell you, when you get people like this 4-star general right here, now he's a Marine, all right? He's a retired Marine general. And of course, from my investigation and from my own independent research, General Mattis does not fit the construct of today. Kind of like many of us old-time veterans. We don't fit this new modern military, this new modern mindset of today. When I was coming up, men were men. They were men that had true grit, true heart, self-determination, and drive. Fearless. Because they had to face fear. I mean, when you're jumping out of airplanes and you're rappelling out of helicopters in the third world countries and getting shot at and all this old other stuff, that's a little bit different than having a gunfight back on the block, if you understand what I mean. But the guys that I know are warriors, just warriors. And to see people that want so bad to lead this country, that were very, very fearful when they had the opportunity, and tucked tail and ran when they had the opportunity to serve, is just disturbing to me. Now, that's my own opinion, okay? But I do believe that whenever you are the President of the United States of America, and when you surround yourself, especially with experienced cabinet members, that definitely you should pay some attention to what they have to say, simply because of experience. Now, from what I gather, is that General Mattis was a historian. He's a man of true grit, and he speaks kind of like I do, kind of like many old-time veterans do, bold and direct. We don't have this effeminate tone in our minds, and neither are we trying to massage or appease people's conscience to make them feel better. The ideal is to accomplish the mission, get the job done, and then let's move on to the next one. And today, it's almost like, because of the advent of the internet and everything else, you've literally got to be walking on eggshells if you choose to do that. I'm not going to do that because the way I see things is that I'm going to present the information. I'm going to say it the only way that I know how, and I'm going to say it with the spirit of a true man, the way that I know how. And then those who are actually listening to my words, those who are really truly hearing the communication of my heart, they will get it, they will comprehend, they will understand. Because I've learned over the years that you're not going to please everybody. And I've also learned over the years that everybody is not on the same level of intelligence, even when they're listening and they're hearing things. And so a lot of times when I speak and I say things and it offends people, I realize what's happening. That offense comes because I've actually hit that person in an area that they're not comfortable in. I hit that person in an area that they're probably either ignorant of, and that doesn't mean that they're an ignorant person. I'm just saying they're ignorant in that area. They have limited information to none. But, you know, I watched the mental gymnastics of these news medias. I went back, I watched a couple of videos, and I watched Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren, get grilled by General Mattis because she's doing her damnedest to sound intelligent by asking questions that only the previous administration can answer. And I'm glad that he was sober enough to deflect of that. But I mean, for the most part, you can tell the politicians and the people who actually have their own self-interest and their own, I mean, really, that they only care about themselves. They don't really truly care about the welfare of America, this country. They really truly don't. And I'm going to add this in there, and maybe I'll give you something to think on. There's a difference between the United States of America and America. I just thought I'd give you that. There's been many, many people that would, you know, that has read his letter, his resignation letter, and it's really not that long. I'm going to embark on it because I want you to really, truly listen. And the reason why I'm here to give my commentary is because this is truly the no spin zone. A lot of veterans, especially when it comes to issues like this, they agree with me on. And the reason being is because we're all cut out of the same cloth. We understand, we comprehend from a total different perspective. But when it comes to me speaking on religious stuff, they make the same mistakes many of them do, just like many civilians do when they're listening to me on this. They're totally uninformed. They only know what they have heard. They have done their due diligence and their own investigation. And when they hear me say stuff on a religious perspective and point of view, then immediately inserts comes emotions and feelings, but not coming from facts. So I understand exactly what's going on. So now I'm going to, without digressing, jump right back over here on this letter again. Now let's go over here to this letter. General Mattis or Jane Mattis, or Secretary of Defense Mattis resignation letter, which CN said he quits. You know, it's utterly amazing. But anyway, let's get past the drama of that and let's move on. Listen to what he says right here. All right. Dear Mr. President, where's my, well, don't know where they are. They gone. Well, anyway, dear Mr. President, I've been privileged to serve as our country's 26th Secretary of Defense, which has allowed me to serve alongside our men and women of the Department in Defense of our citizens and our ideals. I am proud of the progress that has been made over the past 2 years on some of the key goals articulated in our national defense strategy, putting the department on a more sound budgetary footing, improving readiness and lethality in our forces, and reforming the department's business practices for greater performance. Our troops continue to provide the capabilities needed to prevail in the conflict and sustain strong U.S. global influence. One core belief that I have always held is that our strength as a nation is inextricably linked to the strength of our unique and comprehensive system of alliances and partnerships, while the U.S. remains the indispensable nation in the free world. Now let me stop right there for a second. That one phrase right there is laced with information. In other words, basically what he is saying without saying it is that we can't go along in this world right here thinking that we can actually force our allies and force other people to get on the bandwagon with our agenda without using some type of diplomacy. We've got to actually sit down at the table. We have got to actually sit here and negotiate and see how we're going to go about doing this. America just can't be running carte blanche and blitzkrieg all across this world and then turn around and just cut off our allies. Because you know, if I said it once, I said it 1,000 times. I see history repeating the same mistakes of the past again and again and again and again and again. We are actually doing the exact same thing as ancient Rome. You know, the one thing that Rome did was devalue their currency. They started putting less silver into their currency by adding other metals of lesser value, such as nickel and metal and copper. But yet and still, the denomination on the coin remained the same. But so what was happening? Well, economically, they were failing. Ancient Rome. I'm giving you history right here so you can comprehend not only what he's saying, but I'm going to say to you a lot of things that CNN, Fox News, and other veterans may not be aware of, so you can at least comprehend where I'm coming from. And so they devalue their currency. But now look at us. Look at us now. Not only is our currency devalued, we're something like $22 trillion in debt and something like $250 trillion in unfunded liabilities when you include Medicaid and Medicare and all these other institutions. But what's amazing to me is that we don't carry around sound just weights and balances in our pockets anymore. We just don't do it. That happened in 1964. It ended in 1964 when we went from an actual kesef, in the Hebrew, silver, backed and gold backed, just like the Constitution of the United States of America, just weights and balances, currency or money, to ironclad slugs. When you really truly look at it, think about it. When you hold that change in your hand, it literally has no value. The only value that it has is the United States of America being able to militarily be able to back up that value with its might. That's it. Because when you actually look at those coins, I mean, the only thing that probably does have any value is the copper and the nickel that could be in it. But other than that, they're basically ironclad slugs. Now, it used to be when you had $1 or if you had any type of paper fungible instruments, you could redeem them. And they actually said, you know, redeemable by so much silver or redeemable. You know, you could actually get it for real money. And so we, like ancient Rome, made the mistake and allow our country to make the mistake by devaluing the currency because we are broke. B-R-O-K-E. We are flat out broke. That's why I tell you, invest in yourself, because America has literally forsaken you. You need to prepare yourself. You need to store food for yourself. You need to store water for yourself. You need to pay off your land. You need to become financially responsible for yourself, because if these people can't balance our national budget, and every time you turn around, they're fudging the numbers and they're cooking the books to give an illusion that things are looking better when we can clearly see the recession. I mean, Sears is cutting. I mean, they're closing down close to, what is it? Well, close to 2,000 stores before the end of the year. We see what GM has done. We see the recession that they're continually trying to tell us that we're not in. Now, if it's raining outside, I can understand that. You can understand that. But don't tell me that it's not raining outside when you're peeing on my leg. You see, when you peeing on my leg and you telling me that it's raining outside, we got problems, some serious issues and troubles. And that is what we're being sold as a country, as a bill of goods. So Secretary Mattis is actually letting us know in this resignation letter, because he knew it was going to be read by the general public, and people are going to unpackage this, so to speak, in their own terms and way. He's letting us know that our values, the way that we are going, is not consistent. Not that we need to have a total 100% on board world approval, but we cannot go around and actually think that we can do the things that we want to do in this free world, or if that's so they call it, and expect that we can do it without our allies. That's basically what General Mattis is saying. Let me see where I picked up at, and where I left off at, excuse me. We cannot protect our interests or serve that role effectively without remaining strong alliances and showing respect to those allies. So you have to show respect to those allies. And basically what he's saying is we're not showing any. Like you, I have said from the beginning that the armed forces of the United States should not be the policemen of the world. And I have to stop right there again. Again, we have over 200 military bases. Can you say that again? 200 military bases all across this world. The news media, whenever we go into some sovereign country and we blow the hell out of it, we leave a bunch of carnage behind. Because you have to understand, those soldiers, they're only taking orders. They're really truly thinking they're doing things in the best defense of America. They believe that because that's what they're told. They're told, that's the enemy, go get them. It's nothing personal. Only after you get out and your eyes are wide open and you're able to see things for what they really truly are. The truth is, we're not the policemen. We're the hitman and the gangsters for some people in very high places that is misusing and abusing the military for their own financial gain. And that's what's really truly taking place. And so basically, we're empire. We are literally an empire, just like Rome. We are Rome revised, rehashed, because we're falling in the same old thing. Another thing that caused, and I'm just going to add this in there as a bonus. I'm going to throw this in here as a bonus. America has a moral problem. We have a sincere morality problem. We don't know what ethics are. We don't know what values are. It seems, as a matter of fact, to tell you the truth, it seems like the worst that we can get, they equate that to righteousness. And whenever you try to put forth an agenda of making some rules and regulations for morality, they call that debauchery. And so now, those who have values, morals, and ethics, your principles pretty much center on the definition of someone that actually goes to a house of ill repute. I mean, that's the way everything has been flipped and literally turned upside down in this country. It's sad. It really truly is. The things that were bad has now become good, and the things that were good has now become detestable and bad. It's bad. It really is. Let's go on. We must use all the tools of American power to provide for the common defense, including providing effective leadership to our alliances. NATO's 29 democracies demonstrate that strength in their commitment to fighting alongside us following the 9/11 attack of America. The defeat of ISIL, they say ISIS, coalition of 74 nations, is further proof. Similarly, I believe that we must be resolute and unambiguous in our approach to those countries with strategic interests are increasingly in tensions with ours. It is clear that China and Russia, for an example, want to shape a world consistent with their authoritarian model, gaining veto authority over other nations economically or economic, diplomatic, and security decisions to promote their own interests at the expense of their neighbors, America and our allies. That is why we must use all the tools of American power to provide for the common defense. Common defense, not policing the whole world, not going around acting like that we can just meddle in people's affairs and stuff. And believe me, I can go a whole lot deeper concerning what's really truly going on as far as the pullout from Syria, as far as our attack on Egypt and how Venezuela ended up collapsing, and now Russia has literally done moved in there and set up nuclear camp. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. I'm watching because I have a small circle of people that love me, listen to me, and they depend on me for the truth. And many people are enjoying the benefits of following my suggestions and following my lifestyle because they are seeing the writing on the wall clearly. And mind you, we're only going off of just the sources that they give us here. But some of us got to be able to see the proverbial writing on the wall and be able to read between the lines of the things that they're not telling us. Because I'm telling you right now, if you're thinking that America is going to inform you before something hits, you are out of your mind. They'll wait till it hits, and then we have to deal with it from there because they know the panic that will take place. If you try to inform Americans what is getting ready to hit this soil, at least one thing they did do is that the Department of Defense did put out that all Americans need to have at least 6 months of food supply and water on hand. Now they're putting it out because what are they impending an EMP? Are they impending some type of grid down situation? I don't know. You don't know. But at least they're saying the same things that myself and other preppers and other people who actually have a preparedness mindset. Anyway, let me go on. Like I said, I was going to be slow in this letter right here because I want to help you read between the lines of what things that are being said and things that are not said. All right, let's go on. My views on threats, my views on treating allies with respect and also being clear-eyed about both malign actors and strategic competitors are strongly held and informed by over 4 decades of immersion in these issues. In other words, Mr. President, I got 40-something years dealing with diplomacy, dealing with people, being bold-faced and just flat out telling what we expect. Let's hear what you've got to say. Let's negotiate this, and then let's get it done. In other words, I have more experience than you do on this. Now, he's the president of the United States. He can either pick and choose to listen or not listen. But one thing definitely is being said here is that your approach, your worldview approach of this authoritarianism, it can't fly the way that you think that is going to fly. It just ain't going to happen. It just literally is not going to happen. We must do everything possible to advance an international order that is most conducive to our security, prosperity, and values. And we are strengthened in this effort by the solidarity of our alliances. All right? Because you have the right to have a Secretary of Defense whose views are better aligned with yours. On these and other subjects, I believe it is right for me to step down from my position. Okay, In other words, Mr. President, you're the president, I'm Secretary of Defense, I have the experience, and I don't see this world the way you view it. I have 40 years of experience of dealing with this world. 40 years of experience. And I'm the National Defense Secretary, and you literally won't let me do my job, basically. You have a way that you view things and you see things, and so you probably need to get somebody in here to see things the way that you see it, because I don't see it that way. That's basically what he's saying. The end date of my tenure is February 28, 2019, a date that should allow sufficient time for a successor to be nominated and confirmed, as well as to make sure the defense or the department's interests are properly articulated and protected at upcoming events, to include congressional posture hearings at the NATO defense ministerial meeting in February. Didn't Nikki Haley, the former governor of South Carolina, who used to be over at NATO, did she also resign? I mean, it's like people, they get on and happy, and then they see what in the world is going on, and then like a bunch of rats that flee a ship when it's sinking. I know it could be a bad analogy, but that's the first thing come to mind. They all kick the trace. I've done had enough of this, and man, and I don't even still think till this date that President Trump's cabinet is full. Now, believe me, I am not judging or disparaging him in any way, shape, fashion, or form, because I see the good and the bad. It's just that I talk about both sides, the balance of it, just like I did with Obama. But my whole sole purpose and interest is not the president and the politicians of this country that's forsaken the American people and are using them and abusing them. My personal interest is to influence the few American people that will listen to me, and then help you be able to see things clearly and make the proper changes. Let me see. Department's interest in properly articulated and protected at upcoming events, including the congressional posture hearings at NATO Defense Ministerial meeting in February. Further, that a full transition to the new Secretary of Defense occurs well in advance of the transition of Chairman and Joint Chiefs of Staff in September, in order to ensure stability within the department. I pledge my full effort to a smooth transition. That's integrity. That ensures the need and interest of the 2.15 million service members and the 700,000, I'm just going to say there's 732,079 DOD, Department of Defense civilians, received undistracted attention of the department at all times, so that they can fulfill their critical round-the-clock mission to protect the American people. I very much appreciate this opportunity to serve the nation and our men and women in uniform. Signed, General James Mattis. You know, hold on a second. I got a book around here somewhere. I'm going to give you a perk, okay? I'm going to give everybody a perk. Make sure it ain't the only one. I'm going to give everybody a perk, okay? For those of you that are interested in homesteading, and I'm going to say this again, you can't do this alone. There's no way. You need to become mutually assistant with people. You need to have a contingency plan, because when they're putting out 6 months could be a possibility of it get you for 6 months of food. It could be a possibility of some attack, or EMP, electromagnetic pulse. You need to be prepared. You don't have to be in the military to actually be able to read and to be able to comprehend and understand the doctrine. You need to learn how to own the night. You really, truly do. But in order to do that, reading the book is just simply not going to do it. You really need to put it into practice. Because reading the book is not going to give you the experience. It will give you the knowledge, but it's not going to give you the experience and all the nuances that you're going to be faced with. Get a book like this and read it and then apply the principles. Don't wait till it's nice and sunny outside and everything. We used to have an old saying in the Army, if it ain't raining, it ain't training. You hear that? If it ain't raining, it ain't training. So, do it when it's uncomfortable, when it's cold, it's miserable, and everything else, because you need to be able to navigate your own land, your own homestead. and be able to protect yourself, because if something like this did happen, there ain't going to be no police around to come and save you from those who mean you harm. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day.